Hello and welcome back with me, Admiral. Joining me back on Star Trek Fleet Command as always. So I just want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. We're on our way to 1,000 now, which is really good to see. And obviously, if you want to support the channel, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, hit that like button, and comment down below whenever possible. Other than that, let's crack on with the video. So in the last episode, we spoke about the burning crew, the way that works, the upgraded sort of burning crew that most people are sort of heading towards or using at the moment. And there is a different crew to the hull breach as well, which is what we're going to talk about today. Excuse me. So today's crew, the original crew is you're looking at the likes of Gorkon and obviously the Klingons in general. These are the type of crew that you're going to be using for the original hull breach crew. I wouldn't class this as more. I wouldn't really class this as an upgraded crew, but it's definitely an alternative crew that you can use. And there's a couple of different ones that I've spoke to a few people about so far, and there's two layouts that I'm undecided to which one would possibly be the better one. So I'll tell you about both, and then show a couple of different alternatives as well. For more information on the hull breach mechanic, which is something that some people have asked me to include in these videos now, because I didn't include the burning mechanic, which is obviously, but I believe 1% in the background. Obviously, once burning is activated, so the hull breach crew, hull breach once it activates, the effect increases the critical damage by 80% from the base value. So that's once it's activated, and so yeah, that's essentially what it is. That's what it does. According to well, according to Star Trek Fleet Command Wiki, that's what it does. Um, but who knows? The wiki could be wrong. I'm just quoting off the wiki. So if it is wrong, please let me know in the comment down below. Like I say, I'm just quoting off the wiki at the moment. But let's crack on with this crew. So the crew that we're going to talk about is the Lorca, the new Discovery style, and basically more importantly, the Terran Empire. So when we have Lorca as captain, when fighting players at the start of each round, if the opponent has hull breach, Lorca decreases the opponent's weapon damage by 100% for this turn. And then his secondary ability is at the beginning of each round, Lorca has a 50% chance of dealing hull breach to the opponent's ships for 2 rounds. So this not only does this work for armadas, i.e. the secondary ability for the hull breach, that works for pretty much anything. So it can work for PvE, PvP, and armadas. The first ability, as you can see, only works when you're attacking players. So this is more of a PvP style crew. So just bear that in mind, which is slightly different to obviously the Klingon, because the Klingon's ability activates regardless to what type of ship you're going against, whereas this captain ability for Lorca will only activate if it's against another player. So it's mainly for PvP, but it is a very strong ability, so just bear that in mind. And then the team that we're going to partner with him, I think she's the one this way. It is. Perfect. So the one we're going to partner with him is going to be Captain Tilly, because if you look at her secondary ability, it says at the start of each round, if the opponent has a hull breach, Captain Tilly increases the armor, shield, deflection, and dodge by 50% of the total health of all the officers on the ship, and that is cumulative. Obviously, if you want to see her first ability, is when attacking on a capture node at the start of each turn, as long as the opponent's ship has hull breach, Captain Tilly increases the armor piercing. She is a pretty good officer to have as your captain, providing you obviously again you got hull breach on Lorca. She's a good one if you're going to put her on a capture node. Well, if you're going to attack people on a capture node, that's a good ability to have. But again, she's very PvE focused. But at the moment, we're going to stick with Lorca as captain, and then we're going to go with Captain Tilly for her secondary ability, and then we're going to move on from that. And there's two options that you can use now, which has been advised by a couple of people now. The two options are going to be, the first one we'll talk about is going to be Khan. So Khan's going to be one of your options. Everyone knows what Khan does. Obviously, mine's not a massively advanced Khan, but so every time the ship is hit by every time the ship is hit by a ship or defense platform weapon attack, Khan increases the critical hit chances by 2%, and that is cumulative. So again, that's going to potentially increase your critical hit chance, which is the whole point of Hull Breach, because if you can get a critical hit going, obviously if you do get a Hull Breach, that increases the critical damage overall. So again, if you can get that critical hit chance up, then the more times you hit the critical, then the more damage you're going to do overall if you have Hull Breach activated. The only other one that people have spoke to me about with regards to Hull Breach is going to be Koth. I believe it's Koth. Yeah, so it's going to be Koth for, again, his secondary ability. So as long as the opponent's ship has a Hull Breach, Koth increases the damage dealt by kinetic weapons by 20%. Obviously, Hull Breach is only really useful with kinetic weapons. So you're looking at your likes of your interceptors and things on the lines of that. So your Sally's really, really good for this type of stuff. And obviously going up to, like, if you do have a D4 potentially, obviously stuff like that as well. That's where you really want to be using your Hull Breach capabilities. So again, Koth is a really good character to use because you're going to be getting that damage from the kinetic weapons, especially if you use it on the Sally, and especially again if you get that the Hull Breach activates, and then you can obviously hit with a kinetic. You can potentially do an absurd amount of damage to the opponent. So they're the two crews that most people have recommended to use that I've spoke to. I think Khan seems to be winning out a little bit more just because of the critical hit chance going up. So if you can get the chance up, the more damage you can potentially do overall. Obviously, every time the Hull Breach hits. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much the crew layout. The next episode, we're going to talk about morale and basically all of the TOS characters that fit in with morale, roughly or thereabouts. But you can mix this round. So this is, obviously, if you're going to use Lorca, you're going to use him as a PvP style of character. If you're going to use the likes of Tilly, again, it's a PvP style character. However, she is very limited in terms of you have to attack people on a capture node. So her ability is very useful when it comes to obviously defending territory, stuff like that. So you can mix and match them. His ability, it's still going to activate on and do territory because it's still attacking a player. So bear that in mind. It will still work with Lorca. So this is why his ability is probably the better one to go for overall. Because at the end of the day, he is reducing the weapon damage by 100% for that turn. And obviously, if it keeps activating, then potentially that could be quite substantial because the enemy won't be able to retaliate as much as you can hit them, providing you get the Hull Breach popping, which is going to be obviously very useful to do. But yeah, if this video has been useful for you, then the next video is going to be on morale, and I will do an upcoming video next week on. So it'll be morale next, and then the upcoming videos will be on PvP and Armadas. When it comes to Armadas, though, bearing in mind, when Hull Breach activates, everybody, as far as I'm aware, everyone gets access to that Hull Breach mechanic. It's like burning, so burning's exactly the same. Once burning pops on a Armada, you only need to take one burning crew to an Armada. Providing it activates, everyone gets that sort of bonus from the burning ability, and Hull Breach works exactly the same. So once it activates, everyone gets that same bonus as far as I'm aware. Again, if you have any thoughts on any different crew layouts or any different sort of opinions on this type of crew compared to obviously the Klingons or the other Hull Breach mechanic crews, then please do let me know in the comments down below. I am really interested to hear your thoughts. Unfortunately, I apologize for not being able to show you any content with regards to using this crew because I don't obviously have the characters, but I'm sure we'll be able to show you in the future. But hopefully this video has been useful. I'll see everyone next time. Bye-bye for now.